Hey everyone, Bandit here. Welcome to the Bandit Flight Simmer channel, and today we're doing our next leg of our trip in our flight around the world in the Diamond DA62, and we're starting off in Skardu, Pakistan in the Himalayan mountain range, and we are going to be flying today to Delhi, India. And the purpose of this trip is to get out of the mountains here because we have limited amount of airports and weather availability, accurate weather, and makes it difficult to get around. So we're going to get south of the mountain range and head off into northern India, and then we'll track along the southern part of the Himalayan mountain range down to Southwest Asia. Just show you the route here real quick. So we're up in Skardu in Pakistan here, and you can see the safety heights. If we wanted to go down this way, it would be very difficult, and you can see even with the cloud in the background, I don't know what kind of weather I'm going to run into off in that direction. So I plotted this route, and if I get up to 18,000 feet visually out of here, this is a route that I can fly safely at that altitude to get out of the mountain range here and down to Delhi, India. So that's the plan for today. I've already used this flight plan here, loaded up into the aircraft, and I'll just show you. If you have Navigraph, if you just go and you want to export a flight, you just click export, and you can choose Microsoft Flight Simulator plan, and then it will export this plan, and then when you load up your aircraft, you can load up this flight, and then it's all in your GPS ready to go. So it saves a lot of time having to manually enter that. So without further ado, let's get in the aircraft and get started up. If I just take a look around here and go to the main camera, or the cockpit camera, and you can see this is the area we're going to be departing in here. So it's nice clear skies off in that direction. So I should be able to climb visually up to 18,000 feet since there's no published departure out of here or anything, so I have to do a visual climb. So let's get started up and get up on our way. So we'll get our fuel turned on. And we'll turn on our battery, master, get our ignition switches on, have our alternators on. And I'm back to using the regular Garmin 1000 panel here. For those of you who have been watching the series, you knew I was using the GTN 750 mod, and it's a great mod. Really useful, nice touchscreen. But now it's payware, and it's fairly pricey, and I decided not to purchase it because this is true to what is actually in the Diamond, so I wanted to go back to this. Plus I'm using the Class Echo input device, so I can control the Garmin 1000 a lot more effectively without having to use the mouse and keyboard all the time. So I'm back to using the G1000, and I'll be using that for the rest of the flight here. And the working title group have some great features coming down the pipe for the G1000 as well. So I thought I'd just stick with that. It was to buy the full subscription to the GTN 750 was 75 euros, and that's kind of pricey for that mod. So anyway, so let's get started up here. So we'll put our position light on, and we'll prime our boost pumps for 5 seconds. And clear to the right, clear to the left. Start the right engine first. And start the left engine. And looks good. Get our temperatures and pressures coming up. Put our flaps in takeoff. And I'll throw the pitot heat on now. We're going to taxi. We'll get our CDI to FMS, and if I go to the GPS range out here, you can see our entire route is already in the GPS there. So we just had to visually climb to that first waypoint, and we are going to set our altitude for 18,000 feet. And we were already at 7,500 feet, so set our barrow, and I think we're ready to taxi. So parking brake is released. It's a nice long runway. We're just going to depart from here. So I'll get our strobe light on, landing light on, taxi light off, throw on our boost pumps. And we're basically going to have to fly down this valley here to get up to altitude. Okay, so we're all lined up. Let's just do a quick pre-takeoff check here. So flaps are at takeoff, pitot heat's on, boost pumps are on. We got our altitude set, lighting light is on, and looks like we're ready to go. Altimeter is set, so let's go full power. And we might not get 100% with this altitude, and see what we get here. Yeah, pretty close, 99. Accelerates a little bit slower because of the high altitude, but luckily it's a nice long runway. Okay, there's 80 knots, and we'll rotate. Pause the rate, gears up. Accelerates a lot slower here at the high altitude, so nose down a little bit. Okay, so 100 knots, I'll put the flaps up. Trim to keep the climb going. Try to climb at 110. We'll do a post takeoff. Gear is up, flaps are up. Shut our boost pumps off. And we'll shut our landing light off. And we'll just keep the climb going visually here. Climbing out nicely. Huge mountains all around us. Good thing it's not too windy today. The winds are light, so we'll cut down on the turbulence. So once I get to this, once I get to 18,000 feet, and get on the route here, the track will be above, at least 1,000 feet above all terrain for the rest of the route. So we won't have to worry if we run into any cloud or anything like that. The weather is pretty good down in India, just hazy. So climbing through 10,000 feet, and we'll set our altimeter to standard pressure 1013. Our GPS will just range out a little bit. And this is where this class echo is really nice. It allows me to control all this stuff without having to use the mouse. Okay, so I think we'll just keep flying down this valley here, and I'll check in with you. Just gonna pop up and have a look. Come a little left as we're need to fly through that gap down there as we're climbing. So So we're not going to be right on the track, which is fine because we're just visually departing out of here. And then once we get to altitude, we'll get back on our track. So I'll check in with you as we get top of climb, and then we'll see how things look. Okay, we're just left of our track here. We're just coming up 1,000 feet to go. I'm going to put the autopilot on. Flight director will center our heading up. We'll just go heading mode for now. And we'll continue to climb at flight level change here. Oh, we've already altitude captured, so that's fine. So, we're going to just fly into our track here, so I'll select nav. And you can see that's the off in those clouds there, there's some high terrain, and that's what we're flying around there. So once we're at 180, we can just get on our airway, and we should be good for terrain all the way out of the mountain range here. So just leveling off, we're going to accelerate. I'm going to select nav, and then we'll intercept our nav track. Just fly that airway to get out of the mountain range here. Yeah, the mountains to the left here have safe altitudes above 20,000 feet, and we can't climb above that in this aircraft. So basically, you see the high terrain here. We're just kind of skirting around it to get south of the mountains, and then we'll just follow the mountain range down to Delhi. Just coming up to our track here, accelerating up. How are the winds looking? Still pretty light, so should make for a smooth flight in the mountains today. And we're making a turn onto our airway. There's quite a bit of cloud at the mountain tops today, so I think we went the other way, and we would have had to do visually the whole way to get out. Would have been a lot more challenging, and you don't know what kind of low cloud you're going to get in some of those valleys. They don't have very good weather reporting, so this was the best option, I think, to get out of here. So okay, so I'll set our cruise power 85%. I think 84 actually is all we're going to get, and that looks good. Getting a good true airspeed of 190, so I'll take that, and then now we'll just track these airways out. Okay, so I'll check in with you a little further along. You can see that's the higher mountains right here that we're kind of skirting around, so they're obscured in the cloud. Hopefully we stay clear of the cloud so we don't have to use our anti-icing today, but we'll see how it goes. So okay, I'll check in with you a little further down route. We got about 600 miles to fly totally today, so it's about a 4-hour trip, a little under 4 hours, so definitely doable with the fuel load. We had a full load of gas, so shouldn't be a problem. We got lots of spare fuel. Okay, so I'll see you in a little bit further down track. Okay, we're about a little less than an hour into the flight. We're still in the mountains here, and we've been really lucky so far for weather-wise. We've managed to stay clear of the cloud the whole time. You can see we're just above the height of the mountains for the most part, and got about another 45 minutes till we're clear of the mountain range up ahead there. You can see on the nav display there. So once we get down to Romeo November waypoint, we're basically over low terrain there, and then we're going to be skirting down south of the mountain range to Delhi. So we were really lucky, and also we're lucky with the winds as well. Right now it's 2-knot winds, which is great for being at this altitude on top of the mountains. Means no turbulence really at all. So I remember when we came in here, it was pretty bumpy, so it's nice to have that as well. So we're really lucking out with the weather today, and hopefully it continues. So that looks good for now. So I'll check in with you a little further along as we set up our fuel transfer, and we'll see what it looks like as we head over the plateau south of the mountains there. So again, I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so we're about the halfway point right now. Descended down to flight level 170 for direction of flight. We're kind of heading easterly right now, and we are well clear of the mountains, as you can see on the display here. We're on a southeast track, and the mountain range is well off to our left there. So cruise along, good true airspeed, a little bit of tailwind, so we're making good time. And 0 degrees outside at this altitude. We're staying just below the cloud level, so it's a perfect day for flying. And yeah, no terrain issues to worry about anymore. So right now we have to transfer our fuel. So if I look down here, we're down to about 12 gallons a side, and we just go to our fuel page here, so we still have all our aux fuel, 18 gallons a side, to transfer over. So we do that by coming down to our fuel aux pumps, and we turn those on, and then we'll get the indication up here, the advisory, that the left aux pump and the right aux pump are on. It will take 15 minutes or so for that fuel to transfer over. And we do have lots of gas, so shouldn't be an issue anyway. But yeah, so we got that fuel transfer on the go. Weather's looking good. The weather in Delhi right now is just 3 kilometers visibility and haze, light winds, and no significant clouds. So it's just hazy there. That's all we have to concern with today. So I'll check in with you as we get a little bit closer to Delhi, and we'll talk about our arrival plan for that. It's a major international airport, so I think we'll just fly the arrival in for hopefully a visual approach. Okay, so I'll see you a little bit further down track. Okay, so our fuel transfer just completed. Close that. If we go look at our fuel, and all the aux fuel is transferred, we're at 25 gallons a side on the main tanks now. So lots of gas for the remainder portion of our trip. We only got about a quarter of the trip to go. So we fuel transfer is complete. We'll go down and we'll shut off these aux pumps. That should clear our advisories over here. And yeah. So next, let's look up for our arrival. And coming in, the winds are light out of the west, and slow visibility. And so we're going to load in an arrival. And so I go to the flight plan page, or the procedures, I guess, for bring that up. And first one we want to select is the arrival, and we want the that's the one we want now, the IGN 5 mic. So see if there's any transitions here. No transitions, so that's it for runway 29. So yeah, it's nice how that popped up for us, so we can load that in. And sometimes our GPS does funny things here to us. What's it doing? So I'm going to go to heading mode. And in fact, I don't know why it cycles sometimes like that, but anyway, we're going to go back direct to Zeta. So if I go to the GPS, direct to, and I want uniform, X-ray, India, Delta Alpha. Enter, activate, there we go. So now we're back on track. Put the autopilot back to nav mode. I don't know why it does that sometimes, where you load in a procedure and it just skips back to another waypoint for some reason. Anyway, so that's why you want to keep your heading centered more or less on what track you're flying, so you can quickly switch to heading mode. Okay, we can zoom out on that and see how that looks. And if we actually, I can't use the thing here, but we can pan the map. Just to see how it looks further down track there. So that looks good. So we're coming in along the track and it goes downwind for the approach there. So those are the waypoints we need to see. Just confirm with the chart here. So the chart on the side. And we have Sierra Alpha Mike, DP 501, 502, 503, and 711. So yeah, that looks good. So that's our arrival. And next thing we can load is the approach. So if we go back to procedures, select approach, and here we will cursor down to the ILS-29 and enter, and we just want for that the transition is going to be IDGM. Cursor, transition, let's see the transition we want there. Yeah, so maybe I won't load this because it's just going to complicate things. So I'm going to cancel that. We'll just go with what we have for now. Okay, so we have that loaded in, at least the arrival. That'll get us downwind, and then it'll be radar vectors for the approach. So it's looking good right now. I'll catch up with you again on the arrival, and we'll go through the descent portion of what we have to do for the arrival. See you in a little bit. Okay, so we're coming up to the start of the arrival, so we're going to plan our arrival into Delhi. First thing we'll do is we'll get some ATIS, so I'll dial up the ATIS.
Delhi Airport information, Charlie 12000, wind 257 at 1 tree, visibility, tree, sky conditions, few clouds at 600 feet, few clouds at 4,700 feet, few clouds at 12,300 feet, temperature, 4 tree. 2.10. Altimeter 29.34. ILS runway 28 and ILS runway 29 are in use. Landing and departing runway 28 and runway 29. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Charlie.
Okay, so we have the ATIS. Winds are out of the west, and did they say 43 degrees? Wow, that's pretty hot. 2934 in the altimeter when we need it, and yeah, we're going to plan the ILS-29, which is what I was originally planning. So let's just go over the arrival that we have loaded in, and basically we're coming up to Egino, and then we're coming in along this route here downwind for runway 29, which is the southern runway here. We have some altitude restrictions. We have to be 10,000 feet at DP 501. So since we don't have VNAV calculations available anymore, it's easy to figure out your own descent profile. So what I do is I need to be at 10,000 feet, so I got to lose 7,000 feet. So what I do is I look at our ground speed, and our ground speed's 205. So So all I do is I'm just using a calculator, so 205 divided by 60 is 3.4 miles a minute, and I want to say let's descend at 1,000 feet per minute, so that's going to take 7 minutes, so times 7, it's 24 miles, so I need to start my descent 24 miles back. And so if I look on the chart here, is 13 miles from Sam to DP501. So if I started about 11 miles back from Sam, that'll be 24 miles, 1,000 feet per minute. So let's say 12 miles, just to give ourselves a little slush there. So 12 miles back from Sam, we'll start 1,000 foot per minute descent. And then our next altitude restriction is 10,000 there as well. Then 8 or above, that's not a big deal. We'll just, as soon as we go by there, we'll descend to 8. And then 3 or above, as soon as we go by there, we'll descend to 3. So pretty easy for there. Next thing we need to do is load up our comms. So I'll go to the NavCom page, and I'll dial in the ILS frequency is 110.9. So I'll put that in, 109. And our course is going to be 283. So I'll set that. You can't see me doing that. I'm doing that with the class Echo, but if you're looking on the PFD screen, and you can see our nav 1 is 110.9 loaded in. So that's good to go. And yeah, so we'll check in with you when we start our descent, and then we'll see how that works out for our approach into Delhi. We'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're just coming up to our descent point there. Weather's still looking good. So let's zoom in. So 12 miles back. So we'll select 10,000 feet for our altitude. Vertical speed. Dial it down to 1,000 feet per minute, and I'll bring the power back. Keep that airspeed roughly the same, because our calculation's based on that true airspeed, around 200 knots. So okay, so our descent is started, and we should be at 10,000 feet prior to that waypoint, which is DP501. So let's check in with you again in about 5 minutes and see how that worked out. I'm not going to change anything, and hopefully that descent point worked out pretty good. See you in about 5. Okay, that was the 1,000 foot to go there. We're 3 miles back from the waypoint, DP501. And yeah, so it's looking pretty good. I haven't touched a thing. We've been cruising down 1,000 feet per minute the whole time. And I think we're just going to get down right on time for that crossing altitude of 10,000 feet. So that worked out pretty good. So that's pretty much how it's pretty easy with these GA aircraft to do descent profiles like that. And you have a lot of flexibility. I could descend faster if I need to, because I limited myself to 1,000 feet per minute, and I got lots of power on, so I can lose altitude a lot quicker if I need to. So there we are, just crossing the point, leveling off at 10,000. So that worked out pretty good. Let's have a look around here. There's the airport, I think, right there. It's got 3 big runways. That's the major part of the airport right here. And this is the runway we're going to be landing on down here. And then, yeah, looks pretty good. Pretty flat around here. Weather's not too bad. So we're just going to join downwind. We're going to level off here at 10,000 and keep the speed up. And I'll check in with you as we turn on to the approach. As we level off, I'm going to descend down to 3,000 feet on the rest of this arrival. So once we turn on to base leg for the approach, I'll check in with you there. Okay, so we're just leveling off at the end of our downwind. I just selected heading select. Leveling off at 3,000 feet, the altimeter is set, and I'm going to turn to base leg. Giving ourselves some radar vectors there. And you can See, we're over a very heavily populated area of New Delhi there. So now that we're on base leg, I'm going to switch our nav source to nav 1, and you can see our course is in there. Continue to turn to line up to base. The airport should be back over that way. Okay, so we're on a base leg. Level alpha at 3,000 feet. Altimeter is set. Put our landing light on. And we'll get a little closer to the track. We'll dial in the intercept course for the ILS. You can see on the PFD that our ILS 110.9 is identified, India Delta Golf Mike. We have our glide slope there and our localizer all set with our inbound course of 283, so all looking good there. So now I'll turn to an intercept heading. Temperature out there now, 36. So it might actually be 43 by the time we get on the ground here. We have intercept, looking for our localizer to come in here momentarily, so I'm going to arm the approach. And when I arm the approach, you can see localizer is white and glide slope is white, so we're in heading mode and the localizer is armed and the glide slope is armed. Now let's hopefully it picks it up. Sometimes it doesn't, so we might have to manually fly this ourselves. So I'm just going to get ready to move my heading over because it looks like for some reason it's not capturing. So we'll heading select it and we will manually fly the approach. Straight into the wind there. Yeah, I don't know why sometimes this does not work where you arm the approach, so I'll try it again here. So we'll look for the approach button here, turn it off, turn it back on again. It is armed, but it's not capturing for some reason, so okay, well, we'll have to manually fly it. So I'm still autopilot armed. I'm just going to do it with heading select initially, and then vertical speed, and then we will disconnect the autopilot and fly the last portion of it ourselves. So not a big deal, but oh, there's another plane on final, right next to us. He's on the parallel runway. Cool. He's going a little bit faster than we are. So we're looking for the glide slope to come in here momentarily. Tracking the localizer nicely. So now I'll put my boost pumps on. Landing light is on. Adjust our heading here, we're right into wind. And here comes our glide slope. It is a little bit hazy. I can just barely make out the runway up ahead there. Yeah, there it is right there. Okay, so glide slope's coming in. I'm going to set a lower altitude, so I'll set 0 feet. We'll go vertical speed. And we'll just dial down 500 feet a minute to get ourselves started. A little power back. And the airport elevation here is 750 feet. So keep speed going a little faster to keep the glide path going. A little power back still. Okay, we can get our gear down. Bring our speed back. Low 139, get our first notch of flap in. Below the glide path, so just reduce the rate of descent there. Go for about 110 knots. Got a pretty good headwind, so we don't need a very good descent going here, so bring it back to 500 feet per minute. So gear is down, flaps are at approach right now. Landing lights on, pumps are on. Say we've been cleared to land. So just final flap to go. Runway's in sight. I downloaded a freeware scenery from flightsim.to for Delhi Airport here. And, so it's a lot more detailed than the standard airport. Set, so we're on glide slope, glide path. I'm just going to disconnect the autopilot and turn off the flight director, and we'll just hand fly it in from here. So I got the runway visual. A little bit high. Still a pretty good wind here. Temperature's up to 39. So final flaps to go. Select final flaps, speed bleed off. And gears down, flaps are full, clear to land. Speed's come back nicely. Touchdown. Here we are. Welcome to New Delhi. We can just get stopped here real quick and exit off the runway. So we don't have to go all the way down. It's quite a long haul to get down to the next taxiway. This is a huge airport. Luckily the GA parking is just off to our left here, so taxi, put our taxi light on, landing light, get our strobe light off, put our flaps up. shut our boost pumps off. Clear the runway, and we'll taxi in, and I'll see you on the ramp there in a few minutes, just off to our left there, and then we'll shut her down. Okay, we just pulled in at General Aviation Parking here, and I set the parking brake. We'll turn our taxi light off, turn our igniters off. We'll shut the engines down, and there we are. Welcome to Delhi, India. And the temperature outside is 38 degrees, nice and hot. So that's our flight for today. Now we are in northern India, and our next flight we're going to be flying along the southern part of the Himalayan mountain range towards Southwest Asia. I'm not sure of our actual destination. It'll depend on the weather and the fuel. So I hope you liked today's trip. It was definitely interesting getting out of the mountains there. Good thing we had some good weather initially because we really needed that. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit the like button. Really appreciate it. And if you want to see the rest of the series, make sure you subscribe to the channel and sign up for notifications, and you'll definitely know when the next flight on our trip around the world is, as well as other videos that I do, including tutorials. I might do one next in the Citation Longitude, a full flight in that one. So again, thanks for joining me, and we will see you next time on the Bandit Flight Simmer channel. Bandit out. Thanks.